Good morning, everyone. It rained a little bit overnight, and a lot of blue sky up there right now. Still a little bit of clouds. Originally, I had planned on a particular morning subject, but that one can wait. I think that would be one that's good for if there's a lot more blue sky, just to get a little better light on it. There's a almost full moon out up there. And with the rain from a couple days ago, the washes are quite pristine right now, so I'm being very mindful of where I step. And I have a late afternoon subject in mind. It's one that I photographed a couple of years ago, but it was not on good film. And so I'd like to rephotograph that one. It's these rocks that had tumbled down the slope and are arranged quite nice. So it does not depend on any fall color, because if you look around me, you see a lot of green right now. Fall color is definitely running late, but the maples turn very fast. And so in the coming days, I think they're really going to start progressing, because it takes some cold temperatures in order to get the process going. And then it takes some sunlight to really continue that process. And this coming week is going to be a lot of sun. So I think day by day we're going to see a lot of change in the color. But there are plenty of things to photograph here, not just fall color. All kinds of pine trees and rocks and mud, the good stuff. So in the first few days of this trip have been a little bit unusual, just from the standpoint that I haven't had the normal sort of subjects to work with. It's been quite busy with the weekend crowd, so I know the videos and stuff haven't been quite to their normal quality, but I think going forward will be a little bit more back to normal. I'm going to keep wandering here and see what I can find. So that was 6 seconds, F45. And I was wandering along the wash here, and I found this area with these transitionally colored maple leaves that are kind of like flowing down this rock face. And what attracted my attention was the bluish tone of the sandstone, the very freshly green moss there from the rain, and then just the very interesting form of the branch there. So I set up a vertical composition, and I'm using all the pine litter and maple litter in the foreground to balance out all the color of the branches there. So I'm going to do one more exposure, this time with a warming filter. I don't know if I need it or not, because some of the light's coming from the sky, some of the light's coming from the clouds up there that are being illuminated. So I may not need it, but I like to see with and without the filter so I can make the choice. Because sometimes if you do need that filter, it's a little hard to fix afterwards. So after taking my morning photo, I continued down the wash just to get a feeling for the status of fall color over here and see all the changes in the wash from the water that was flowing through here just a couple days ago. And there's definitely some things to keep an eye on. There's a scene that I tried to photograph last year, and the color was great, my timing was great, but the problem was that I had a little bit of lens flare. So that tree right now is still very, very green, but the maples turn pretty fast when they start to turn, so maybe in a few days or so that might be possible. I'm just continuing to wander along the wash here. And one other change I've made this year is the footwear I'm using. So instead of wearing regular hiking boots, I'm wearing what they call barefoot hiking boots. So they're very thin on the bottom, and you feel the ground a lot more. And when walking over stuff like, this, I was wondering how well they would do, but they actually do really, really well. I find I get better grip because you can feel the rocks with your toes a little bit more. So if it's like a kind of a larger rock with an edge on it, you can actually wrap your toes around it a little bit and get better grip. And also, some of the areas that have a lot of slanted sandstone, like that back behind me there, I feel like I have better grip on that as well. So I use these on my backpacking trip in the spring, and I was doing some 40,000 step days, walking over gravel all day, and for doing that, after a while it got to my feet a little bit, but I think I'm getting a little bit more used to them now. And also I wear, just for regular everyday shoes, I've been wearing for about a year now, actually over a year now, I've been wearing barefoot shoes as well. They're very comfortable, so if anyone has had some thoughts about trying them out, I do recommend them. Now I'm going to head back to my truck, grab some lunch. That was a quarter second f/45. So one of the rare times I actually get to use the built-in timer on the lens, which makes things a little bit easier. But after taking the photo this morning, the skies were pretty sunny, and I decided to load a little bit of film as I waited for the sun to move a little bit. But then these clouds started building in, light rain started to fall, and over here in Zion, whenever it's a little overcast or whenever there's a little bit of rain falling, oftentimes the subjects on the ground are the ones that are the best options. And so I remembered this area over here with these fallen pine needles among all these cracks in the rock. I think it was maybe a few years ago I came here, and it may have been on my winter trip or maybe toward the end of one of my fall trips. And so it was one of those areas that was always in the back of my mind for a day with overcast skies, maybe a little bit of rain. And it's a pretty cool area. I like all the movement of the pine needles there. And I found one little clump right down here, which I have kind of in the lower corner. And I just try to find a composition that just makes all the movement make sense. So feels pretty good for that. Looking at the weather forecast, tomorrow should be sunny all the way from sunrise to sunset, and I have two particular subjects in mind for tomorrow. But I feel pretty good about working with these conditions and finding two good subjects to work with despite having not much fall color showing yet and having overcast skies. There's always something to work with. It's just a matter of working with those conditions, and I think that's one of the it's certainly it's a very good skill to have as a landscape photographer. And perhaps the fall color being a little late this year, it's making me work a little bit harder, which is good. Time to get the camera set up and her camera broken down, and just go for a little wander.
Oftentimes, the act of taking a photo is more important than the photo itself. The process-oriented approach of large format forces me to slow down, to consider my surroundings, and to formulate a plan for the day. This isn't to say the final photo doesn't matter, but perhaps more important is a sense of accomplishment while returning to camp at the end of the day. Although my morning subject turned out just fine, it isn't quite what I had in mind, though perhaps my perception of this image will change with time. I had high hopes for my second photo, but my exposure on this one is quite dark. Perhaps a result of changing light, a metering error, or an inaccurate shutter setting on my lens. In any case, this is a subject I hope to revisit on a future trip, possibly with a more dynamic light just after sunset. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll see you around next time. You may have noticed this video has no ads and no sponsors, and I think it's nicer that way. If you enjoy this ad-free and clickbait-free content and want to help me live my dream, a voluntary contribution through PayPal or by joining my Patreon helps keep my gas tank full and my film freezer stocked. You can find more information by visiting my website at benhorne.com/donate. I also have prints, ebooks, and my annual portfolios available on my website. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you around next time.